It is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. I'm Pastor Thor Ramsey with Center Church. This is Gospel for Five, where we take 5 minutes out of our day, focus on the gospel and the one who saved our souls. We're in Romans again today, except today we're in chapter 10, verse 9 through verse 13, where the Apostle Paul writes, "Because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. For the Scripture says, everyone who believes in him will not be put to shame, for there is no distinction between Jew and Greek. For the same Lord is Lord of all, bestowing his riches on all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." Now, in terms of the simplicity of presenting the gospel, this is the gospel message. If you confess with your mouth, meaning there is a confession in your soul, and you go, "I believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. I believe in this specific Jesus." Again, it's not just believing Jesus rose from the dead. That is the crux of it. That's the high point, so to speak, of the gospel. But the specific Jesus, that he was the Word become flesh. He was God in the flesh. He lived a sinless life. He died on the cross for my sins. He rose from the dead. And I can say that unequivocally. I believe that in the depths of my soul. I believe that in my heart. Your heart representing the depths of your soul. Your heart being the depths of your soul, I should say. In terms of the word heart biblically represents the very core of your being. You know with every fiber of your being, this is what you believe. Because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's the evidence you're God's. I think a lot of times we present this as a thing to do. Now, in terms of repenting and believing, yes, but I think for now, let's just focus on this aspect of it. This is an evidence that you know the God of the universe. Because how do you get to this place where you're like, I know in the very core of my being that God raised Jesus from the dead. I know in the very core of my being that the Jesus presented on the pages of this book is the Jesus of history, the Jesus who created all things, the Jesus who lived and died and saved me. I know that. How did you come to know that? Did you all of a sudden just make that decision? Like you can just believe that? And you can just decide to believe that? That's how we treat it sometimes, which is really a ridiculous way to treat this astounding claim. Because that's an astounding claim. That's a lot of times why people will roll their eyes. Because that is the kind of claim you can't just say, here, you should believe this so you can go to heaven. And didn't a lot of us grow up in churches or with evangelistic groups or methods of evangelism that kind of presented things that way? Hey, just believe this and you can go to heaven. Which is really not the whole. I mean, we get to go to heaven. That's wonderful. But we treat Jesus like a means to an end in that scenario. But this is amazing. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes and is justified. You're declared not guilty. In the core of your being, you believe because of what Christ has done. God declares you not guilty. You're justified. And with the mouth one confesses and is saved. For the Scripture says, everyone who believes in him will not be put to shame. You won't be disappointed in your salvation. For there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, for the same Lord is Lord of all, bestowing his riches on all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. There's the thing, the people who look to the God of this universe find Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not going to debate with you theologically the order of that. That's for another time. But this is the glorious simplicity of the gospel. You believed, you've called on the name of the Lord, you're saved. And the wonderful thing about the gospel message the Bible presents is that will never change, because your salvation is not dependent upon anything you do. And that is the overriding message of the New Testament. Now, what has God said to you today? And what are you